Hey, School Zone podcast listeners, Matt coming at you from cloudy and rainy Stephenville, Texas, here early fall 2017. I've got a really cool guest entering the School Zone today, Miss Donna Park of CAST, Creative After School Theater. Donna and my daughter Rebecca actually crossed paths at the Texas Elementary Principals and Supervisors Association. That's a mouthful. Conference here in June, and Rebecca thought what Donna was doing was so cool that she needed to be on the show. So I'm grateful for Rebecca reaching out and Donna accepting the challenge to join us. Donna, thanks for joining us, man.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it. Rebecca, she was a dear.
Awesome. So give us a little background on you.
Me personally, I have been, my first career was in television production. And so I kind of entered the creative field while I majored in radio, television, and film, and I minored in theater, but I went down the path of producing and directing for about 30 years. And then sort of wanted to explore my theater roots again. And my middle daughter actually was very interested in doing some theater stuff. And she was at a community theater, and they had a summer camp, and she really, really enjoyed it. But then once the summer camp was over, there wasn't anything else for her to do. And there was nothing in the area for her to continue that drama and theater. And so I decided that if it wasn't going to be, there wasn't anything around here for her to do, I should just start an academy. So that's what I did. I started a theater academy back in 2008.
Wow. So how old is your daughter now?
She is 21.
And so she was, I guess, in high school at the time or junior high at the time. So a little bit older than where you're spending most of your time today, right? But that was the beginnings of it all.
Middle school. Yeah, she was probably in middle school. And but now we're really focusing on the elementary school kiddos, and that's really our wheelhouse. That's our specialty.
So you decided, I'm going to start an acting academy. What did you do from there? I mean, you had some background, with the TV and all that stuff, but there's a big jump from that to.
It was a big jump. It was a big jump from me deciding, hey, I'm going to start this business, but that's basically what I did. And that's kind of the way I roll. I kind of, not afraid to jump into things. And so luckily, I do have a lot of industry connections, actors and directors and different people that I could pull some of their expertise from this area. And so that's what I did too, is that I sort of started to partner with some of the guys that I had done, stuff on stage with forever, that they stayed in the industry as I exited it. And so they were really instrumental to kick off, a lot of the curriculum and a lot of the idea generating for some of the academy offerings that we had initially.
So did you then just go to your daughter's school and start talking to them about your idea, or how did you go from, okay, I got this idea, to now you're working in schools all over the DFW area?
Yeah, so being in the schools was not the initial idea. We were, the idea was to have a brick and mortar facility, and that's what we ended up doing initially. And so we offered after school theater, and not only just after school, but, into the evening kind of enrichment programming, but people came to us. And at that time, when I first started it, my kids all attended the elementary school, and my principal, who was very passionate about the arts, called me up and he said, hey, I see that you're doing this new thing. You're starting this company. I think you should start a drama club at our school. And I said, okay, that sounds really cool. I didn't know exactly what that was going to look like. And I said, you know, because my kids attended that school, I was afraid he wanted me to just volunteer to do that. And I thought, that's a lot of work. And so I said, well, I don't know how that's going to work. And he said, no, I mean, you should do what you have to do from a tuition standpoint. But he said, I can guarantee you that you're going to have 30 or 40 kids that want to be in this after school activity. And so he and I met, and we kind of worked together to kind of say, what is this going to look like? And from that point on, the after school enrichment programs that we take on campuses have hands down been the most successful part of our academy. And so much so that that's the only part that we focus on now. So the brick and mortar kind of went away, and we absolutely are completely providing the after school enrichment programs on campuses. So we travel to the school.
So how many schools are you working in now?
We are in 12 schools right now. And so we are in all of Coppell ISD, and we are getting into some charter schools and public schools in some different districts. We've kind of been ebbed and flowed and been in and out of a couple of different districts. A lot of things change over time. And so it's the key, though, that we found is that if the principal this is something that resonates with the principal of the school, then we can get into that school pretty easily throughout the district. So that's the key person that we like to be able to get in front of,
right? Because
once they see what we do and how successful we've been, they usually want to be a part of it.
So are you guys then a replacement for the traditional after school type program that I see in schools all over the place that I'm in and out of on a weekly basis? Or is this just like a once a week kind of thing? Or
Yeah.
how does all that work?
Yeah, so we are absolutely a once a week kind of thing. So what that looks like for a semester is we come in for 12 weeks, once a week for an hour and a half. So it's right after school. So the kiddos that sign up come and meet us in our meeting spot, and our instructors lead them through an hour and a half worth of, question of the day and improv games to work on quick thinking skills and focus. And, the kids just are having fun with these games, but they don't realize that they're developing some life skills along with it. And then they end up auditioning and rehearsing, and then ultimately at the end of the 12 weeks, put on a full-blown play. So
that's cool.
That's the payoff at the end.
I was in 12 different plays and musicals in high school. My senior year, a little known fact about Matt is I played Superman in the Superman musical my senior year. The tights, the cape, all the get up.
Oh, nice.
I have two. We're getting really deep here. I have two nightmares. If I ever have a nightmare, it's one of two. Either I'm on stage in the middle of a presentation of a play or musical, and I completely forget my lines.
Yeah.
Or I have, because I was an Air Force pilot for 9 years, I am in the middle of a check ride, or I have a check pilot show up for a flight and I'm not expecting it and haven't been a pilot for years. So anyway, those are my two that I remember.
I have that same recurring theater dream myself. It's like I'm on stage, I haven't rehearsed. What the heck? I don't, it's that panic. Yep. I think it's during stressful times. I don't know.
Yeah. I haven't acted since, 1985 when I graduated from high school. I've been musically active since then in choirs and that kind of stuff and at church. But yeah, I still, every once in a while, will have that nightmare.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
So one of the biggest fears that we all have growing up, and even as adults oftentimes, is speaking in front of people, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
my guess is that that's one of the things that your program, through fun, is helping these kids learn to overcome.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and it's what we try to stress is that, you know, we're not the after school program that's going to make your kid a star. You know, we don't make those kind of promises. And sure, we have kids that, you know, have really decent talent, and we can steer them into some other programs where they can excel. But we are all about, you know, making it a fun experience, making this, because typically this is the first introduction to theater that any of these kids have had any kind of exposure to. And so it's got to be all about fun. I mean, we've got 3 rules: have fun, must show respect, and you got to have fun. So 2 out of the 3 are, we got to have fun with this. Because if we're not having fun, we're failing. So we try to stress to our parents of our kids that they are learning life skills. You know, they're learning about self-confidence, focus, problem solving, receiving constructive criticism. I mean, you know, all of that goes in with putting on a show and working as a team, and responsibility, because when you are cast in a role, it's up to you to bring it. And you've got to learn your lines, and you've got to know your blocking, and you have to, and everybody's depending on you to do that. So I think a lot of people don't really realize that it is about teamwork, and it is about working together collectively. It's not about me. It's about how we're all going to do this together. And one of the most gratifying things over the years is when we see a very super shy child come in at, I don't know, 1st or 2nd grade, and they stay with the program each year, and, you know, they sit in the corner, they don't say much, but by the time they're in 5th grade, they're leaders of the whole shebang. So it's great for us to see that growth over a short period of time, over just a couple of years. And we're excited that hopefully at the end of 5th or 6th grade that they're going to go into middle school and high school and be a part of that drama program that, you know, is offered at those levels.
So do you guys see any pushback at all because, you know, so many factors or so many bits of the arts are slowly being pushed out of the schools for funding, or because testing is so important in states like Texas that they spend all their time preparing for tests instead of learning life skills that I think all of us adults would agree are more important?
Yeah.
You know, what do you see in that realm in your conversations with administrators and all that?
Well, it kind of depends on the administration. You've got a couple of different types of, you know, thoughts here, and you've got the administrators that are all about the tests, and they're very hyper focused about that. But then there's another breed of principals and administrators out there that do understand the importance of this, and it's beyond their control that things are being cut out of, you know, the arts are being cut more and more and more. And so this is a way that they can still offer this on their campus, and feel like, you know, at least there's this program that can fill that void if parents find it appropriately important as well.
So is this something where the parents actually end up paying for it, or does the school pay for it, or how does that work?
So we've had it's kind of differs from district to district, and we've done it a couple of different ways, but typically it is a tuition-based program. So parents pay for their child to participate. We have had PTAs pick up a portion of that, and they have they've contributed a certain amount so that the tuition could be lowered for their kiddos. So it's kind of, you know, different. We're also talking to some Title I schools that do have some grant money and some different things that they've got that for these types of programs. So we're kind of having conversations about whether this is a good fit for that as well.
So do you have several different shows that they might do, or are you doing the same show in every school that you're working with in any given semester or 12-week period? How does all that work?
Yeah, so that's evolved over time as well. So in the beginning, we had 5 or 6 different shows going at once, and that was crazy. So now, we've gotten smarter as we've gotten along. And so now we do one show for the semester, and every school is doing that one show. And for Coppell ISD, for instance, they're all doing, this semester we're doing Wizard of Oz. So, and some of our campuses will have us come and do the show for their, like an assembly for the entire school. Some don't do that. They don't do their learning day or whatever. So what we do is we actually take all of the schools and their productions, and we have one day where we go to a professional theater and we rent the theater, and the kids get to come and do their show on a professional stage. So they're not just performing on the cafetorium, stage at school. They're actually in a big theater and get to have that experience too. So we have like a Saturday at the end of the semester, and we do 10 performances of The Wizard of Oz.
That is really, really cool. Do you guys then have the ability to go, I guess, take the same props from school to school as,
yeah.
Several big tubs of stuff that you basically, okay, it's this school today and the next school the next day?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And so by doing it, though, at the theater, we can control a lot of the elements, and we can up the ante a little bit so that the production elements can be a little bit more elevated than they might be at the school, because every school is different, and some know how to use the lights, some don't know how to use the lights. So this way we can control those technical elements and make it the best that it can be. The kids, it's up to them to know their lines and show up and do what they've been rehearsing, but that way we can create the experience for all the kids and their parents and their friends that come to see the show, that it's, kind of a big deal.
So what's your vision? I mean, this has obviously come a long way since 2008 when you had this crazy idea, right?
Right.
So in the next 2 to 5 years, let's dream a little bit. What's your vision for this?
Well, the vision is to continue to grow this program and to grow it outside of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, where we are currently. So we are in talks right now in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and also looking to move into Edmond, Oklahoma. So we've got some other districts that we are targeting, and we're starting to have conversations with administrators in those districts. And so that's exciting to think that we can take this idea and duplicate it in other areas.
Very, very cool. Did you ever think 6-7 years ago that you'd be working in schools doing what you're doing today?
No, because like I said, that just wasn't even the initial idea behind the business ultimately. So, things have a way of doors opening and closing, and this has just been something that has continued to be successful in spite of a lot of other things. And it's where I'm the most comfortable. It's where I see the most benefit for the kids. And so it's where I want to spend the rest of my energy.
Awesome. So I understand you are an author as well.
Well, yes, Matt, thank you for asking. I just self-published a book, and it's available on Amazon, but it's a little children's book with some beautiful illustrations by an artist named Laura Watson. And basically it's a story about a kid that is in one of our programs right now. Like I think he's a fourth grader now, but his name is Evan, and he is our protagonist. And he basically, he's just a typical second grader. And he likes to read, he plays soccer, and he plays with his best friend Nadia, who wants to be a movie star. And but he still, would love to hang out with the cool kids that don't pay him much mind, So his friend Nadia convinces him to join the drama club, and he ends up being very successful in it. And he's funny, and he gets the lead role. And by the end of it, he's discovered his voice, and he's discovered his place, and he's discovered this activity where he has a place to shine in front of all these cool kids, and they think he's pretty cool by the end of it.
So what's the title? And for those that are watching on YouTube, you can actually show the book, because we are on video here. So
yeah, so it's called Got Drama, Evan Discovers His Voice. So that's little Evan. So that was a lot of fun. So I've already planned, I've got 3 more books that are in the works, and they're all based on the kids that have actually passed through our programs. So they are my inspiration to write these books about these positive experiences that these kids have had with drama.
Very cool. So if a school wants to reach out to you, and obviously knowing right now that outside of the DFW area, it may be a process, but that being said, if they want to reach out to you, in the DFW area versus, who knows where people are hearing us with the school zone, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you and at least begin a dialogue about your program?
Yeah, sure. So our website is creativeafterschooltheater.com, theater spelled Theatre. And we have a contact page there, and all the information is there about the drama club and about the book and about just all sorts of different things there that we offer as far as workshops and some different things. So that's the best way to contact us.
Any other insights or thoughts, anything that schools need to be aware of before they reach out?
Oh gosh, I think that like I said, the biggest thing is if parents or if parents can talk to their administrators if they're interested in this kind of a program to be started at their schools, and then if the principals find this interesting and intriguing, that's where we start the dialogue. Every district is different, so depending on the district and how they handle this kind of program to be brought in, or but once we can have an initial conversation with the principal, that's where it needs to start.
Philosophically, I wish that our schools would spend more and more time with after school and extracurricular activities on things that create lifelong learning and are skills that can be used for life instead of for just a very, very short period of time. We spend so much of our time doing team sports. Well, after high school, 99.9% will never do that again versus, tennis or golf or, whatever that you can play for your life. I know for me, being encouraged to be in drama in my early years, and then in high school, I lettered in football and track. I sang in a couple choirs and was not doing anything or planning on doing anything dramatically until one of the cast members in the fall musical, Once Upon a Mattress was the show, in trouble and got kicked off the cast. And it was 1 week before the show, and they needed somebody. And my choir director recommended me to the drama director. And I ended up stepping into the role. I was the wizard in Once Upon a Mattress and scrambled to make that happen. But that was a foundation for me and created a love for me that I believe still impacts my life today with my confidence in working with and talking with people. You know, I don't have a problem speaking, and I love to actually speak, you know, in front of groups, that type of thing. So I guess anybody who's listening, administrators, educators, volunteers, or what have you, I would really encourage you to take a real hard look at what Donna and them are doing, because this has the ability to have lifelong ramifications for the kids that are part of the program. And most of us don't think that way. And hopefully anybody who hears this maybe changes their thought process a little bit and makes sure that they're giving credence to programs like this, et cetera, because they do have the ability to impact these kids far beyond that presentation of the Wizard of Oz at the end of the semester, right?
Right.
And create a confidence level in them, a ability to speak confidently in front of others and communicate. Let's face it, we're all thinking about technology and we're all thinking about this and that and careers for the future. And that's awesome, but here's what I know. People who know how to communicate, no matter what happens to the workforce in our society and how many robots take over time, right? Regardless of that, the reality is people who know how to effectively communicate will always have a job, because that never goes away and can never be outsourced. So I see huge value. I am a big fan, even though Donna and I have just talked just now for the first time. I love what you're doing, Donna. Thank you very much for joining us in the School Zone.
Well, I appreciate it so much. And it's, you know, there's a lot of credence in what you say too. It's like the employers and companies that are out there that are looking for people fresh out of school. I mean, they're looking for people that with higher level thinking skills and creativity, and they're looking for people that if something goes wrong, they know how to pivot and they know how to, you know, they can react and make changes quickly, and all of that kind of stuff is what we do in drama. And I don't know that people think about that so much, but, you know, improvisation is all about, you know, there is no script and you got to make it up and you got to figure it out. And that is life, friends. I mean, you know, it's not always going to go as planned. And so you got to be able to figure it out and, you know, make decisions quickly and make smart choices. And anyway, I love drama. I think it's great for the kids. And I appreciate you, Matt, for the opportunity to come on here and talk a little bit about our little program.
Donna Park of Creative After School Theater. And for those of you around the country, Got Drama, Evan Gets His Voice, the author of that book that can be found on Amazon.com. Thank you once again for being here. Man, have an awesome rest of the semester.
Oh, thank you so much.
Hey, School Zone. I hope you have enjoyed this episode. For those of you that aren't aware, we take companies like Donna's and we have created a resource for you called the 10 Top School Fundraising Ideas and Resource Ideas Guide for 2017. That is a free download at schoolzonepodcast.com, and we would love for you to have that. If nothing else, it will give you some more inspiration and some more ideas about some of the really cool companies that are out there that have been on our show at one point in time or another. So check that out. And for those of you that are subscribers, if you would do us a favor and leave us a review on iTunes, that would be greatly appreciated as well. The higher we are in standing as far as the reviews are concerned, the easier we are to find, and the more likely others like you will be able to find our content, and we'll be able to impact them and their schools in a positive way as well. So appreciate you big time. Thank you very much for listening, and we will talk to you next week.